when you're coaching an individual athlete, and then especially an individual strength athlete, compared to a team sport athlete, and you're a strength coach.
You are now listening to the Inner Circle Podcast Network.
Never, never, never die. 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 Never die.
Fuck you. All right, this is the Angry Dad. Thank you guys for tuning in. And before we get started, I'd like to thank my sponsor, Everyday Fit Life, an easy to follow step-by-step nutritional program. Look, it's there to help guide you, set you up, and hook you up. Lose weight, feel great, get in shape, all that good fucking shit. Use the link in my notes, 20% off at checkout. Check it out. I appreciate it. And on my show today, as you guys can see, I have a guest, Coach Big Powerhouse Kenn. All right. Hey, I'm going to just rattle this off right here. NFL Strength Coach of the Year. All right. And the NSCA College Strength Coach Conditioning of the Year with the Carolina Panthers from 2011-2019, the creator of the tier system, author of Coach's Strength Training Playbook, the founder of Big House Power, and his current role as Vice President of Education of Dynamics. I think is that pretty much everything?
Pretty close, yeah. I mean, I could go on all day, but no.
Yeah. Oh, no, trust me. Hey. And like I said, hey, I met Coach Kenn a while ago. You know what I'm saying? Like just being in the circles that we're in, we crossed paths. Great fucking guy and very knowledgeable. And guess what? When you drop your name, goddamn it, you fucking touched a lot of professional athletes and one of the strongest men in the world, 4-time world strongest man in the world, strongest man on earth. And you've really set a path and a blaze for all of this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's the talk with you. It's so knowledgeable because every time I've always picked up a little here, a little there. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll add that to my repertoire a little later down the road.
That's all. Hey, all I ask coaches, and I'll ask people like, I think that in this day and age, a lot of people speak in absolutes. People think that their way is the best way. I think that's been proven wrong. There's many ways to get to Rome or get to the championship. I think that's been shown in how, in our little fandom of strongman, how different guys train to get to the championship. Same thing in team sports, different philosophies. It all comes down to an innate inner drive of the person. So I always tell people, obviously, I'm very confident and I think my ways are superior to a lot of others, but I reserve the right to be wrong. And what you need to do is establish your own identity and not live through someone else's. And I think that's what I feel kind of prideful in with the amount of people who have utilized my systems of training. But really what they've done is they've looked between the lines in their own environment, so to speak, or their spatial awareness of where they're at and the types of clients they have. And you have to make it your own. Like for you to do something verbatim, like there's certain things like any structure, right? There's certain things you just can't change. Like this is the integrity of what you're doing. But what fits into that box is where your creative juices and your personal philosophical differences, like even with my son's a strength coach, and he utilizes the tier system, which I'm glad he does, or that makes me look bad, right?
Yeah.
And then, but he has his own spin to it. And to be honest with you, we very rarely talk training. When we talk more admin, dealing with coaches, the business end, contractual stuff, when is the right time to make moves and things like that. So those are, and I feel more comfortable with that being his dad, is to give him more of the real life lessons behind coaching and let him develop his own belief system and how he wants to run stuff on the floor. So yeah, it's been a really good journey. I'm very fortunate that I work with a company, Dynamic Fitness and Strength, that's in the industry. So I'm highly involved. I'll be at World's Strongest Man in 2 weeks, but next week I'll be in Indianapolis for the College Strength Coaches Association's big event, and I'll be in Kansas City So I get to go to the events that I want to go to. So it's been I've been really fortunate that and you never close the door on coaching. Coaches that won't do that. But every day you're away from coaching means chances of you actually getting back in that setting are moving away, and I'm okay with that. I have nothing to be ashameful for, and I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I mean, I knew what I signed up for, and when Brian gave me an opportunity to join his team 2 years ago, I always said, you did me a favor more than I did helping you, because it got me coaching again. And I do a little like consulting here and there, but that was a legitimate coaching job. And then to have the pressure of, coming aboard on one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest, for various reasons. You can have your debates, but what he did on the competition surface, as well as what he's done as a champion of the sport, it'd be hard to compare him to most. But then you're being brought in when he's a 4-time champ, wanting to win a 5th. There's pressure on that, and we didn't get it. And then we don't accomplish that goal. Well, that's part of my failure too. And I think a lot of times coaches aren't willing to take that for the athlete. Like, again, I think we did a good job. I learned a lot. I still have a lot to learn in my new role now with Thomas Evans. I'm better off working with Brian from there.
Yeah.
But that it's a different perspective. What I try to tell a lot of people, when you're coaching an individual athlete, and then especially an individual strength athlete, compared to a team sport athlete, and you're a strength coach, there's pressure on you in team sports, but not like the pressure that you have to be a strength coach or any type of, if you're the event coach for a strongman competitor or a bodybuilder coach or power lifter, because their practice field is the weight room for the most part.
Yeah.
Where in team sports, half those kids don't want to go in the weight room, and they're still going to be good at their sport.
Yep.
So the pressure is where if a guy misses a 400-pound bench press and he's a football player and has 15 tackles on Sunday, nobody cares. But if Brian or Nick Best or Thomas Evans misses a 420-pound log and doesn't get max points, that shit matters.
That does. It does.
I mean, that separates a podium before, and that changes the prize money of the check. So it was a great learning experience. Some ways extremely challenging. Like I said, it was in some ways more challenging than getting a team prepared for a Super Bowl. And people look at me funny. I go, man, you don't understand. Like, I love this. For me, it's different. Like, if you don't get it, then you can't see what I'm saying. But I mean, I love lifting. Like, I don't do anything but I just got out of the gym, and I've been in the gym my whole life pretty much since I'm 9 years old, and in and out, and it helped me get to my goals as a football player.
Yeah.
And then I got to, last October, I competed in what I'm left to compete in health-wise in a deadlift meet. That's the 4th. I've been competing in powerlifting since 1990. Like, and again, everybody has their reasons for doing it. Nick has his. Like I always say, like, I admire Nick and Mark Felix because they're my age, still doing it at an elite level,
pushing numbers.
Where and I look up to them. Where then for me, I've always been a class 2 power lifter. So, but there's people who watch me train, and it's a little bit different because they see me in sometimes like I see Nick and Mark.
Yeah.
Because they're like, man, this dude's 58 years old and he's still deadlifting over 500 pounds, beating his body up. And, and I'm like, well, they're Nick's 50 something and Mark, and they're still pulling 700 and 800 pounds. And, but you know who you are. And I think, so you're trying to, like anything else, man, if you're into the physical fitness and the activity levels that we are, and you have any sense of competitiveness, I tell people, look, man, you're just trying to beat the birth certificate. Like,
for real.
I mean, that's really what we're all trying to do. And some guys are fortunate enough from genetics, quality of life, jobs. They can do it a little bit different than others. And And for me, I've been fortunate because my job's been in a weight room since, I've been in a weight room, like I said, since I'm 9 years old and made it a profession. So I have the ability to do that. And sometimes I take that for granted, if that makes sense.
No, it's understand. You know what I'm saying? And like even on my end, it's like my training has always been bodybuilding. That was my forte. That's what I started with when I first started really training. I always was into strongman, but I just and never correlated, because like at my size and my weight, I would have been a perfect match if I would have started earlier. But
Yep.
bodybuilding was more what I wanted. I wanted the look, I wanted the aesthetic. So like even with the training that I've gone through with coaches, and step by step and following plans and understanding actual technique and the quality of these lifts and these works, what I'm saying? It really changes the dynamics of a lot of stuff. But the one thing with strongman that I've come to learn and know is like there's a lot of stabilization muscles that need to be like really dialed in and strengthened. And it like I said, it's just one of those things, and with strength and conditioning, I've never actually had anyone help me with strength and conditioning. I've always just been like, fucking pick it up, put it down.
Yeah.
Did it look good? Did it feel good? And what I'm saying, and just at my stature alone, I'm in decent shape, but I'm not in great shape. But
Yeah, I think we're all
it's
like like we know, and I'm not, and I have access to two, well, really three terrific nutrition people: Nathan Payton, my buddy John Heck, and who worked for me, and another guy who worked for me, Adam Fight.
yeah,
And I'm my own worst enemy, man. I'm trying to out train a bad diet, and my diet's not.
yeah,
It's not that it's bad. It's like again, man. I like pretzels. Like if I'm going to
yeah,
go shopping, I'm
yeah,
buying 3 or 4 bags of pretzels, and that carbs will get you when you eat them
yep,
late at night. And because like I tell people, because I'd coached in college for almost 2 full decades, you get institutionalized because you're always like when I came up, it wasn't one sport. You worked 16, 17 sports. So you get like I tell people, I was doing the Slim Fast diet before there was Slim Fast. We were eating protein shakes and Metrex bars all through the
yep,
day, and then you'd go home and have dinner. So like for me to, like you saw me before we got on drinking for me to
yeah,
drink 2 shakes or a protein bar and maybe have one meal or a meal and a half a day, that's just what it is. Like,
yeah,
and I have to just, what I need is, and again, I'm not ready yet to commit to it, but I'll need like somebody to understand. And this is where I think quality coaching comes. It's understanding your client.
yeah,
It's like so for me, don't tell me to go out and buy $300 worth of groceries a week. I'm
yeah,
not doing that. You got to
yeah,
tell me, okay, this is the types of shakes I make. This is what I'm putting in it. This is how I eat.
yeah,
Make it work. Tell me the timing principles.
yeah,
Tell me what to add, and then let's give it a shot. Just like when we first hired a nutritionist at the Panthers, and she was a All-American swimmer at South Carolina. She's in their Hall of Fame. She came in fourth at the Olympic trials, the worst position you want because in swimming the top 3 go if you make the
that's it.
time. And she understood athletics at a high level, and the guys respected her tremendously. I thought she was awesome, man. It was one of the best persons I worked with in the 9 years I was there. But I'd had to tell her, like, look, you got to understand, some of these guys aren't going to listen to them if you don't meet them where they're at. Like,
Yep,
if you're working with a Polynesian kid, that dude's eating rice.
yep,
Like, that's just the way it is.
that's it.
Don't get it twisted. If I got a kid who's born in the deep south, he's eating fried chicken.
Yep,
They're eating that. It doesn't matter white, black, brown, purple. If you're from the south and you've been raised from deep south grandmas and mamas, you're eating fried chicken. So what can we do to balance things out? And
yes,
I can tell you, the year we went 15-1, we went 14-0, and the number one meal we ate on Fridays after practice was Bojangles, because once we started winning, we weren't not eating Bojangles. Hey, they catered in Bojangles the week of the Super Bowl in Santa
damn,
Clara. Like
damn,
that's how it goes, you know. So
yeah,
I think, and that's the same thing with training. Like you made a good point about the stabilization. The one thing I learned from my value, and this is what I would tell people, what you have to look at the coaching a strong man, and I had to look at this, and I made some good epiphany moments with Brian in year one that really helped us in year two. Is my job is to fill in the gaps. My job is to program the things that I know you won't do if they're not programmed, but you know you
Yeah.
need them,
Yep.
but you won't do them. And that's why we had extensive, like, I don't call what we do warm up, because warm up to me is a almost a term that automatically programs the brain into what I call duping around,
Yes.
going through the motions.
I agree.
So we call it pre-activity preparation, because just in that nomenclature and the way you set the tone, you hear preparation versus warm up, it's different. You
Yeah.
hear a focused attention to detail with the precision of what the events are or the movements are to get you prepared to lift weights versus let's go do some high knee hugs. It's totally different. So everything becomes a matter of tone and choice of terminology. Like, we don't call it warm-up sets, they're preparation progression sets. Like, it's all based off of, hey dude, this is important. Like, if it's not important, I'm not putting it in. And then it comes the value of, with high level athletes, their communication level is so much better, because it becomes more of, with individuals in high level, it becomes more where I've had to tell this now to Thomas, and I told it to Brian, because these guys are just great guys, and most of the guys I've met in strongman are very, very great, like great people. You can tell
Yeah.
they want to be
Respect.
good. Yeah, like, but what I told Brian for sure year one, and a little bit with Thomas, was, hey man, you're too coachable. Like, you got to tell me sometimes, no, I am not doing that. Or
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's not it. And year two with Brian was much better, because what I tell him now is, if I come aboard, first things first, I'm the strength and conditioning coach. I know events, but I prefer to have an event coach, because it's like having assistant coaches,
Yeah.
right? Like, and I've done strongman, like in conditioning and stuff. And if you can see in that one corner, that little trophy right there,
That's it.
that's my championship trophy from Chad Coy's meet in 1990, the old Central USA Strongman Masters champ. And I wasn't unopposed. I did have to compete against somebody. So, but I don't, the techniques are different. It's like, why does a football coaches have 25 coaches?
Yeah.
And so for me, now I'm getting good at the events. I do think if you have the ability to have someone in your stable who is specifically understands the intricacies of event technique, I can teach anybody in the beginning. It's like anything else. You know where you can go until you need help.
Yep.
Anybody who says that they've gone, if they can, very few, and again, you get the right talent, it doesn't matter. But I'm trying to be the best influence I can on the athlete, so I have to be upfront and honest. And the more I learn about events, the better I feel about it if I had to be a one-off coach. And I can be a one-off coach with probably everybody up to those top 25 guys in World's Strongest Man. Then that's a little different, because shit's real now.
Yeah.
But like, bringing guys up to that level, I'm extremely confident that I can get you to there. And then from there, we may need to expand the coaching staff out to people who can really help. Like I can pick, I have to be a competent coach when it comes to technique with team sports. But now when you get into this field, you have to be a little bit more with a competitive eye. And I can do that with strength training exercises. I have a competency now that's better with the strongman exercises. But for me to say I have that competitive eye, that's the Brian Shaws. I work with Adam Dirks, with Thomas.
Yeah.
You know, these are guys, Big Laws.
Yeah.
Those guys are going to see things that I can't see.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that I've always seen too, because like I said, being with Nick, it's so crazy how he can pull, literally look at somebody do something. He's like, oh, he didn't do this. He didn't dip down lower. He's not really set, or the foot positioning is like, and it's like, it's because, a lot of these guys that you're talking about that you mentioned, like, they have done it at that level, and being and doing at that level is like even for myself, like I can always point out small foot mistakes in training, and like I said, I've had multiple people just work out with me, training partners, they've body changes, like I've done coaching, but it's not like on any kind of level as you're done. I've just done in-home gym
Yeah.
training with the people, but the thing is like it's understanding these fine details and being able to point them out in a way where it's understandable. You know what I'm saying? Because like we can always state what we're trying to do, but when you talk about the level you guys are at, it's like trying to really relay the information. Because just like one thing you were saying is like some people are too coachable because they're agreeable,
Yeah.
and they don't know how to understand that.
Yeah, and that's why I said sometimes you got to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
And like I've learned a lot when I was with Brian. I actually learned a lot from Steve Foshin.
Yeah.
Because Steve's a competitive, high-level competitive strongman, and he was always on site for Brian. So, like, when I would FaceTime in, him and James were like my eyes and ears on site. Like, there was sometimes I'd watch something, I go, hey, does he really look that good, or is that me just seeing something on tape?
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Hey,
Yeah.
that didn't look very good. What's going on?
Yeah.
And then, then it's funny because, like, we talked about Chad, and I've known Chad now for a long time, and Chad is really, really good strongman coach. Like,
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from him, but then he hires me to do his strength work. Like, it's always like everybody needs a coach, and those are things that, like I've always said, like with Brian, I was more like a consigliere than a coach, because what are you really doing to coach Brian Shaw?
Yeah. Hey, well,
but I know, like, because I've been, like I said, most people know my story. I've known Brian before anybody knew him.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a strength coach. 2005, he's working with us, and we're teaching him how to deadlift in my garage at 120-degree heat. But like, I really believe that Brian, obviously he believed in me, right? And he respected that I could help him. But Brian's not bringing anybody into the team unless the value's there. He's not going to ask. But I really believe that the biggest reason why he wanted me a part of it is he was having a hard time with this hamstring issues with the deadlift. And during those times, like I would text him right, like I'd watch it on like everybody else and text him, yo, man, here's what I saw. What do you think and then I think so, and because Brian, where I think a lot of guys are not able to do this financially, they don't have really, I don't like to use the term off season. I like to either call it developmental or on season, because you're never really off and you're always working on something.
Yep.
So my buddy Adam Fight started telling me about because I hated when they go, hey, the off season's program starting in football. I go, off season? No, they're coming to work. So I always called it developmental plan. But then when my buddy Adam said, oh, we call it the on season because we're always working on something, I said, oh, yeah, that's stolen. I'll give you credit, but I'm stealing that. But
I'm going to use that a little bit more.
Yeah. But Brian had time in between events.
Yeah.
Because Brian wasn't going to all events. So, like people don't know, like when I came aboard with Brian for the first World's Strongest Man competition, we had 12 weeks of on season before we even went into comp training.
Yeah.
For World's Strongest Man, because back by then, he was only going to really do the World's Strongest Man, the Strongest Man on Earth, aka the Shaw Classic, and if he got invited to the Rogue.
Yeah.
So with this, for 12 weeks, I think I know Nick was out there a couple of times. Nick can tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude's doing. I remember, why is Brian Shaw doing sumo deadlifts? Why is Brian Shaw doing hip thrusts? I'm gonna tell you why. Because he doesn't train those muscles, and as big as strong as he is, he ain't big and like you said. Yeah. Sometimes you got to know how to train the stabilizers.
Yep.
And again, would we have liked it to have happened a lot faster for him? It took 2 years. And again, then you have the confidence. And that's Brian's story to tell. Yeah. But there was a confidence issue. I mean, it was evident. Everybody who knew, I'm sure Nick, again, I'm not Nick, Chad, Steve, everybody knew it was just destroying them. And again, how can it not? You're the world's strongest man 4 times over. You're one of the greatest of all times. And deadlift, you have to deadlift in the last times you have not had good success deadlifting big weights health wise.
Yeah.
So, and that's where you saw the culmination of 2 years of work.
Yeah.
At
And that
the
positioning change.
at the Shaw Classic, when it was the first year the strongest man on earth, where, that first year we went with him, they had the deadlift ladder in the prelims and he missed the last one. And everybody's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I knew what was wrong. He knew what was wrong. And the truth was, up until that point, when that second to last pull was like 799 pounds, that's the most he pulled the whole training. So he actually, for that training cycle, pulled the best he ever had.
Yeah.
And kind of knew, I think he kind of knew he wasn't going to get he didn't. I was surprised even back then that he even attempted the last one.
Yeah.
And I think that's because it's Brian Shaw.
Yeah.
And
he's got to put on a show.
Yeah. And then he did better in the car deadlift for reps. But then, if you remember, the next year at Myrtle Beach, like you heard Terry Holland said it.
Yeah.
He went out on those 2 deadlifts and everybody said, that's the old Brian Shaw.
That's it.
And then he comes back at the strongest man on earth and Hummer Tires deadlifts 1050.
Yep.
And that was the big one where even I said, man, I wish you would have went a little fast, but it took 2 years of a
development
of a passionate athlete attacking something that needed to be done to battle through the mental challenges of being, because again, if you're not Brian Shaw, it's looked at a lot different, but people are ripping you apart for everything you do or don't do, right? Like, I mean, like he's getting ripped apart allegedly. Like, how many people are like, damn, Brian's trying to kill us. Is he? Or is he trying to find out who the strongest man on earth is?
For real.
You know what I'm saying?
Real.
Like,
yeah.
Is he trying to kill you? Hey, and if you don't want to come, don't come.
Exactly.
Like, it is what it is, because 16 people are going to come.
Exactly.
So those are things that I think as a younger coach, evolving is, don't be afraid to not know what you don't know, because if you deal with high-level athletes and you try to fake them, in this day and age, they're going to find out, and then you've lost all trust.
Yes.
Like, it's over. Like, if an NFL guy comes into my office and says, House, I want to do this. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Well, this and this I know. That I don't know, but I know people who do.
Yep.
Let me get back to you. And then I'll call those people, and then I'll text that guy. Hey, man, I spoke to my dude. This is what he says. And, I tell him, somebody has to tell you no, and someone has to be your voice of reason, because these dudes are crazy. Like, they're the best of the best for a reason, and they are who they are. They understand what's going on. And like I've said, Eddie Hall, I wish I would remember where I heard this. It might have been in one of those documentaries or one of those videos of when he talks about pulling 500. And this is what I've said too with a lot of athletes, but you see it a lot now with CrossFit athletes in that metabolic demands of what they're asked to do. And then with strong men and even powerlifters for so much, and what they're asked to do is, the fight or flight syndrome, right? Where you have a certain level of you'll push yourself, and then right when you're ready to go a little further, you won't. But then when there's a certain occurrence that occurs where you're not thinking straight, you hear all these crazy stories about people say, and what I say is, and Eddie Hall said it, what these high-level athletes have been able to do is, I don't know the correct terms, I used to say, they've pushed the mental approach to fight or flight further away. Like, exactly, they can go further by eliminating whatever it takes to break through that fight or flight barrier. And then, like anything else, it goes all the way back to the 4-minute mile. Once somebody shows you it can be done, now you've opened up the floodgate. Like, exactly, powerlifting, if you deadlifted 800 when I first started, you were the man. Yeah. Now everybody deadlifts 800. Like, hey, I know who I am. Like, I was a class 2 lifter. My best deadlift ever, 611 pounds in competition. And back in that day, I believed a lot like Eddie Cohn did, because I followed Eddie a lot, and now I'm friends with him, which is cool. Yeah. Where he said, you'll understand the balance of your abilities if you're conventional and dead and your sumo are similar. And he would switch back and forth a lot. You see most of his bigger lift sumo, but he's done similar loads, conventional and
Exactly. Yeah.
and at a point in my powerlifting career, my best ever conventional 600, my best ever sumo 611.
There you go.
So at that point in my career, but like for me, I was 50. I turned 58 this year. A week after I was 58, I pulled 529 in a meet.
Woo.
My fourth decade of pulling over 500. It was and again, because my knees are shot, I can't get the squat depth. I just had a 5 anchor repair plus a 50% bicep tear on this shoulder.
Yeah.
Got to get a knee scope after World's Strongest Man, and probably will need. I took a beating to do that, and I have a lot of other issues, but it was worth it to me because I had set a goal and I wanted to accomplish it. But like people hear, 529, but like when I tell people, look, man, my best ever was 6'11" at 305 pounds, and I just pulled 529 at 282 at 58 versus 38. And when you do the math, that's a big number. That's like 85 or something % of my best ever.
Yeah.
And then you compare it towards, 11 of the 12 women at the Arnold pulled over 500, and you get back to reality. Now, kudos to all of them, right? They're pushing the game, but it's like, but this is where I say, man, I know where I am at this point in time. Like, I know what I want to accomplish. And that's where a lot of times people who've been at a level that's it's hard for them to come down because they always go, well, I used to do that. Well, guess what? You can't no more. So what are you doing now? And be excited the fact that, hey, man, I used to pull 800 and now I pull 660. Well, there's a lot of fuckers who wish they could pull 660.
660. Then that's 100%. There's a lot of people that wish they could pull 405.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And again, like I thought, and I told, I said to everybody, I want to do this deadlift meet because it might be the last time I ever go back on a platform. Yeah. And then I pulled it beat up. Like I pulled it with a torn meniscus. I pulled it with bilateral proximal hamstring tendinopathy in both legs that I trained 14 weeks with it. That's why I'm still rehabbing it. My bicep felt like it was going to be blown off, and now I know why. It was 50% torn.
Yeah.
And I pulled, my goal was to pull 501, and I pulled 529. And anybody who watches the tape knows I easily had 550, but I don't know if I'd have walked off the platform. Because 529, because my buddies who handled me there, my buddy is a good friend of mine, Adam Barber, was at every one of my deadlifts. I deadlifted heavy every 3 weeks on an old school linear Eddie Cohn type of progression. Yep. He was there every 3 weeks. He was at my house handling me. And then my good friend Martin Rooney came over to be my like motivational coach. And they're watching my warm-ups and they're like, oh, you're going to do 550 today. You're going to do 550 today. I'm saying like, look, man, I ain't doing 550 today because I know I'm pushing it right now. Like the fact that I haven't blown a bicep, I'm actually can still walk with my knee and and I haven't torn these tendons off the bone in my glutes.
Hey.
And I wound up doing what I wanted to do. And I knew right away, like I knew I wasn't going to pull 501 because my training just dictated not.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I'm a big believer in getting the meat. So my first attempts are usually always a last warm up, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like, or prep. Like, I mean, it's not even a prep. It'd be my last, if I was in the warm up room, that would be my last one before I go out, like most people would.
Yeah.
But I'm the nervous guy. Like this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So I walked out. I think I went 457. Then I made a big jump to 507. So now I set my goal. So anything after that's a bonus.
Yeah.
And they're like 5, and I'm like, so I really had to go back between 529 and 535 in my head because I knew the 507 worked good. And when I projected myself and I started doing my meditation and visualization, it was 457, 507, 529. That's what it was for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, man? As much as I hate the fact that 529 isn't 530, like it's 529, like I was like, I'm pulling 529 and I'm getting out of here smiling.
That's
And
it.
then here's the funniest shit. This is the stuff like, it just, to me, and hey, it's on my wall in my gym. So, but then like, so I'm all jacked up, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Again, I'm beat up. So I did a single ply suit with brief, so it's considered multi-ply to protect because I've had a hernia surgery, so I got to protect a lot of stuff.
Exactly.
So I get this packet, and I competed in a group called 365 Strong that does a lot of meets out here.
Yeah.
So I get home, there's this envelope from 365 Strong, and I open it up. It says, "Congratulations on your world record achievement." And I'm like, "Oh, this is like," and again, it's up on my wall, but like,
Hey.
it's like you're multiply Masters 55 to 59 308 class world record holder. I'm like, all right,
take that.
I'll take it.
I'll take that.
I'll take a world record.
You know what I'm saying?
I might, it ain't. Hey, you gonna tell me I got a world record in your association?
Hey,
I'm gonna take it.
That exact. The nicest frame in the center. You know what I'm saying? I'll take that all day.
But again, I think as you come through, and I've listened to you talk a lot on your stuff on Instagram is the same thing. I think when you're in the strength game, whether it's aesthetics, right?
Yeah.
Strength or power, or even if you want to be like a weekend warrior in strongman or CrossFit or whatever, you're still going to strive to be the best you can be. Like,
absolutely,
you're not just going there to show up. Like, even those who don't do what I call professional CrossFit, when they go to the CrossFit box and they join that community, they're there to compete. Like, and it's not necessarily competing against the other people. It's competing against themselves. Hey, we're doing this workout today. Last time you did it in 21 minutes. Today you did it in 20-30, right? Like, or, it's just like anything else. Hey, last time, we're doing log press in the weight room. Hey, last time I did a Viper press with 200 pounds. Hey, I want to do I hit 205 today, right? Like, those are things that, so the competitiveness of what it does for you, regardless of the levels, that's the whole thing. Like anything else, it's not hard to get started on your fitness journey. Go out and walk 5 minutes on your block.
Yeah.
Right? 5's going to turn into 6. It's just like when Stan Efferding and Mark Bell, they started pumping up the 10-minute walks, right?
Yeah.
Everybody and their mothers, multiple 10-minute walk 10 minutes after you eat.
Yep.
It's good for your digestive system, right? And all that. Well, my 10-minute walks started to become 5K walks.
There you go.
And I could walk a 5K. Like, I think the best 5K I walked was under 50 minutes.
And that's hella good.
Yeah. But like, those are things that, and it didn't happen because it just organically grew. Like, hey, I'm going to, and I still would do. And then like my 10-minute walks became 15-minute walks, 17-minute walks, because that was a mile. I'm like, I'm just going to walk a mile. Like, and I have all these different routes in my neighborhood, and I know where the 5K is. I know where the 1K is.
Yeah. And a lot of us have that.
Yeah. I know where the 0.62 is, and simple. And like for me, generally 10 minutes, 11 minutes is 0.62. So I can get that. So, but that's where I think people are like, oh, I don't have the time. Everybody has time. Like,
everybody. Yeah. I can't stress that enough.
Like, again, like even like if you follow this, right? After every meal, go walk 10 minutes. And when I worked at the Panthers, it was great because one lap around the entire stadium was 10 minutes.
Oh,
so we would just walk out the weight room, walk a lap around the stadium.
Yep.
Off you go. Like even now when I work in my office, I try to go like every 2 hours. I'll just go outside and walk up, and even if I just walk up and down my street for 10 minutes and go, I do it. I call it mailbox shuffle. I'll go mailbox to mailbox, farther mailbox, back and forth, and just walk back and forth to the mailboxes. And then you don't need a gym. You don't necessarily need weights to get strong.
Yep.
Most of us, especially as we get older, body weight is extremely important. To be able to push yourself off of a chair and get out of bed without assistance.
Exactly.
That stuff's important. And but the gym, everybody now, the big thing is have your own gym.
Yep.
But even then, it's nice to have camaraderie. Like
Exactly.
my,
Environment.
yeah, like I trained today at a small gym that's been around. I've been training on and off there since the 90s. And my wife told me to do it because my home gym used to be my secondary gym. So I'd come home on the weekends and love it. Now it's become my main gym, and now it drives me stir crazy. So
Yeah.
she's like, you got to go join Jack's and get the hell out of the house once in a while.
Oh yeah.
And,
Oh
and
yeah.
then I wound up driving. Then I wound up joining a couple of gyms, and I got a couple of projects now. I'm not 100% know where exactly it's going, but I may have some cool stuff coming
Nice.
on the front with that. But yeah, so I mean, I think that people need to understand that no more people are going to judge you for what you're not doing than what you're doing. Like,
Exactly.
and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, like, people will more concerned with why aren't you doing it versus, well, I'm not good at it. Well,
Yeah.
hell, I'm not good at it either. I'm just like I won't. I've chosen where I know what I want to do. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be able to do some variation of a squat. I wanted to be able to do some variation of a deadlift. I'm not afraid to condition hard, but I'm not going to run sprints. Even though I know there's value in that, even at my age, my sprinting will be on a Versa climber or
Yeah.
on some type of cardio piece.
Exactly.
Or and I wouldn't say it's sprinting, but or I'll do some type of interval work with farmers walks or yokes or something like that. But
yeah, I literally have an exercise bike, and I'm like, guess what? It has an interval setting, and I
yeah,
get on that, and guess what? It's the low impact that my leg needs. It's the low
yeah.
impact my back needs, and it's still something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like
A
I have
lot.
an
Yeah,
I have an arc trainer, what I use for my what I call mindless conditioning, and then I have a Versa climber when I want to get my butt whooped.
exactly. And that's the thing too, is like even touching on the point where like a lot of people, I'm not good at this. Well, guess what? Nobody's good at a lot of things.
Yeah,
And if you don't get your ass up and going and just trying, you'll never get good at anything. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Everything takes practice. Anything you do takes practice. Even starting a new job, you have to get trained to do it before they even let you do it.
And
You
if
know
you
what I'm
walk,
saying?
and even like if you walk into the right gym, and I think that's one thing where I will say, I'm a fan of professional CrossFitters because I can't believe what they do.
Oh yeah, it's
I,
insane.
I back when CrossFit first started, based off of what I learned in college or what I believe in personally, I still question sometimes the non correct way they program stuff.
Yeah.
I
The
didn't. I
order.
mean, and I didn't necessarily agree with them promoting rhabdo
Yeah, for
with
real. Because
with
it's
the
something
crust.
that does happen on a regular
Yeah,
basis with them.
but what I will say, what CrossFit did do was it created a community for people to go in and not be judged, right? Because
Yeah.
even the most in shape person at a CrossFit embraces the non. Hey, hold on one second.
Yeah.
My wife's going away for the weekend.
Okay.
I'll see you, my babe. Drive safe. All right, love you. She's going on a women's weekend with her sister and my nieces.
Well, that'll be fun. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
see you. And then
It's
I'm
funny too
home.
because my wife's leaving this weekend too, but unfortunately it's for a sadder thing, but you know what I'm saying. So it's just gonna be me and the boys at home.
Yeah, well, it's me, and then I got to take care of my wife's dogs. Notice I said my wife. So
Wife's not. Yeah.
I'm not a pet. I'm not a pet person.
No. You trust me. It's a safe situation on this end.
Yeah.
But I do want to take a little bit of a pivot because and like I said, this is just on the strength and conditioning part. My actual youngest son is getting ready to start high school, and he is taking a huge interest in weightlifting and strengthening and conditioning because, like I said, just like the most majority of us, when we go into high school, it's high school football right away.
Yeah.
He one of the things that we did, and like I said, and this is just a personal preference because in our area, I've had too many friends whose friends did little league for little league football, and broken collarbones, fucking, torn ligaments. And it's like, I didn't want that for my son. So I was like, look, get a little bigger, wait till high school, and then we'll start doing football. Like I said, I knew it'd have been a lot greater if he started earlier. But there was just a lot of concerns that I was just having because, like I said, some programs are run better than others, but I
Yeah.
was seeing a trend and I didn't like that trend. So I was like, all right, let him get a little bit bigger. And now he's getting ready to start football, and he's definitely been a lot more interested in training. So one of the things that I've been doing is helping him actually develop the base muscle of stabilizers. But one of the things I wanted to ask you and talk to you about is like, what's a method in just the beginning marks of somebody who's getting ready to start? I'm talking about he's a lean frame, and he has my genetics. He's 13, 6 foot, about 135. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I'm just trying to put him on the path to get him prepared for when he actually starts training with his coaches and his things, just so he has a little bit more of that leg up when he actually goes to start.
Yes. So is he a ninth grader then?
Yeah, he's 8th grader now. He'll be a 9th grader.
So
Yeah,
this kind of fits into one of my passion projects of my Block Zero concept, where integrating young, inexperienced kids into the program for the first time, right?
yeah,
Generally, no matter who they are, male or female, there's a confidence issue, there's a nervousness issue, they're worried about, again, these are impressionable kids. What's my friends going to think? And I'm a big, huge proponent of what I call gymnastic strength.
yeah,
Like, can the kid legitimately do a push-up first, right? Like,
yeah,
can he do a push-up? Can he do a legitimate body weight squat to a parallel box with his own body weight, without a form break and without losing strength and mobility where they can't get to a parallel box? Like, you may have to start at a higher box because they're not strong enough or mobile enough to get down properly to depth, whatever that may be. So I'm big into the gymnastics. Like, if he can't do a pull-up, how long can he hold his chin over the bar to start, right?
yeah.
And then you do negatives. And this is a whole concept and a whole program that actually, this little disc right here is a 5-hour presentation that we're turning into a course.
Nice.
Based off of Block Zero concepts. And we're working with a big, huge company that's nationally that wants to do webinars and tie this educational arm. But so I would tell you, as somebody who understands that training is, if he can, it's always this: movement before muscle. Because in football, if you can't move, it doesn't matter anyway how strong.
Yeah.
But like, I would do things like pistol. Like, my oldest son probably could have been a high level CrossFitter, but he was when he was in the 9th grade, he could do Nordic curls, which no one can do. He could do 7. By the time he was a senior in high school, he did 50 at the end of a workout. And and we've got guys, if you do 1, you're getting celebrated.
Yeah, for real. Nordic curls ain't no joke.
Yeah, he chins, pull-ups, single leg squats, pistols, all of that stuff. Those things there, because what it's shown is, one, the strongest people in the weight room pound for pound are the ones who are strongest with their relative body weight. Why are wrestlers and gymnasts, when you start testing it and then comparing their strength lifts to their body weights, are always stronger than almost any other team sport athlete?
Yeah.
Because they have a high level of relative strength with the amount of things they can do just body weight wise.
Yeah.
And what happens also is, when you talk about like stabilize, the resiliency and the stabilization of that helps protect them when they do go into the strength movements. Like when I'm sure, like, in your age bracket is similar to mine, they threw us in the weight room and said, go bench press. We were big fucking dude. Go in there and start bench pressing. But the best I ever did was 7 chin-ups in college, but I got trained by a high-intensity strength coach. So one of our lifts every day we were in the weight room was negative chins and dips.
Yeah.
We were going to be able to do chin-ups. But like, outside of that, I've never been able to do more than one or two if I was healthy, but I'm expected to bench 400 plus because I play O-line.
Yeah.
And then I want to know why I'm having rotator cuff surgery on probably both shoulders because, and that's nobody's fault. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's a different style of mindset then.
And here's the thing is that people tell you this, guys like Joe DeFranco, Martin Rooney, there's a correlation between the ability to do pull-ups and how fast you run. I don't know why that is, but I do know this. With the Nordic curls, nowadays with sports science and this apparatus called the Nordboard, that's one of the key indicators to hamstring resiliency. I don't know why this, I don't want to call it stupid, this single joint knee flexion movement that nobody can do, but the eccentric component of it, there's research out there that shows hamstring resiliency. And I can tell you, if you can do them, you're damn sure going to be able to squat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think outside of 5-star offensive linemen and throwers in high school, I don't know if any high school athlete needs the back squat. I think you can perform a poorly executed back squat, and you can't do that with a front squat. Plus, the front squat athletically. Remember, this is what I'm saying. Now you're talking about a kid who wants to play football, not a kid who's lifting weights, right?
Yes.
So front squatting is going to be much more beneficial in athletic endeavors than a back squat. And I'm not. I used to I built a whole system of training around a back squat, and before I realized, hey, this ain't about, you ain't about lifting. It's changed philosophies. But overhead press before bench press. We've all, as you know, as a strongman fan, what have we seen, and what does everybody realize? If you improve your overhead press, your bench will go up. But if you bench and don't overhead press, it's not the other way.
Yep.
Plus, if I'm training an athlete and outside of adaptive athletes and adaptive team sport athletes, most of the athletes we're going to deal with are going to be on their feet.
Yes.
And what you notice with guys when they first, or women that first start working overhead press from their feet, there's a balance and stabilization issue. Something that you've brought up, the term stabilization, at least a half a dozen times that we've been on the podcast.
I say it all the time because it's the one thing I've noticed in all my training is because even everyone's a baby deer when they first start working out, but until the stabilizers are built up to a certain point, that's when movements get steady. And when they start getting steady, that's when the strength increases. And it's like, it's always been an indication for me when I'm working with anybody that works with me don't worry, you'll get there. Then when it comes, it's like, all right, now it's time to put a little gas on little pressure on the gas.
And that's where, again, like you see some of these people call them gimmicks, but they're not. Like I can't wait to I'm a long way away, but like one of the key exercises that I'll do when I'm cleared will be oscillating bench presses and overhead presses to work the stabilization muscles of the shoulder capsule. And, I think you got to train the neck right away. I mean, he's got to train the neck.
Yeah.
That's for any athlete, male or female, doesn't matter the sport. Everything starts with posture. The head controls posture. Most of us now are in a protracted way with the head nodded.
Yep.
And that's what's killing thoracic mobility and posture. So that has to be done. And that's just that's simple body weight mobility work of just learning how to do the rotations of the head, and then scapula plane movements, again, to help with the scapula. People don't talk about, they'll talk about muscle groups, but they have to talk about the joint movements that surround the muscle groups. And so like when you talk a lot of times about shoulder development or trap development, people don't understand. All we talk about is the two knots, right? We got to have but that only relates to one movement of the scapular elevation.
Yep.
There's still the main ones you can train in the weight room: depression, upward and downward rotation, scapular retraction and protraction. And that's the things that when you're training athletes, all that comes into play. When you're training strong men, it's a little bit different because of the multiple joint movements that have to be done at a heavy pace. But that's where, like I said, in that pre-activity prep, all these little BS things that we think don't count, you're doing those for sets of 25. And what are you doing? You're building up ligament and tendon strength. You're building muscular endurance in small muscles, and it's a great way to prep to do your big work.
Yes. Yes.
So there's you can't. I don't think you can do enough reverse lunges, walking, whether it's in place, split squats, all this stuff. Because here's the thing: is and I said this, and it was a viral. It was an 8-second deal. If a kid can't do a push up and can do 5, if a kid can't do a pistol squat and can do 1, did he not get stronger?
That's it.
So, and again, there's a lot. I mean, you hear it all the time. You can go on YouTube right now, type in thug workout, and you'll see these dudes at the parks, and they're yoked up, and all they're doing is push-ups and pull-ups at the park.
Yep.
So don't tell me you can't get yoked up and put on massive amount of muscles. And I guarantee you, every one of those guys, well, guarantee's a hard word. People will call you out on it. I would say there's a large percentage of those guys could probably bench press double body weight of their benches of their body weight, and they don't even bench press for the most part.
Exactly.
So those are things that I think people, and here's the other thing too. You have to slow cook. Don't be, remember, you'll know more about your kid the first day of practice if he's a football player or not. And it won't be because he bench pressed 135. I can tell you that. I mean, you either have the skill set to play the game or you don't. Everything else is how do you educate the athlete to show you it has value? And
yes.
In some positions, there's more value to lifting weights than other positions. The further away you are from the center of the ball, the least lifting weights is more about protection than it is about performance enhancement. And I mean that in a lot of regards. I'm not telling you that they don't need lifting, but it's a different reasoning behind the lift.
Yes.
And it becomes more of, again, that's where it's more about, like I said, pure protection. Hey, man, if you're a wide receiver and you're going to be running a lot of go routes, or you're a kick return and run and go, hamstring resiliency is key. Hey, you don't want to bench press? Fine, we'll do some dumbbells or push-ups, but we've got to work the hamstrings. We got to keep we've got to work stabilization of the knee. We've got to do touchdowns. We've got to do pistols. We've got to do lunge work. We got to do a lot of single leg. You don't like squatting? Okay, we'll do a rear foot elevated squat. It's a single leg squat. It's a squat, right? Like, these are the things and these are high levels. This is the higher they get, the more they figure out, man, what am I doing this for? And the more athletic they are, the more why do I have to do this?
Yeah.
And again, I always say this is what I've told people now, because as everybody's just going crazy about training. Here's what I like to tell people now. And remember, man, I'm a weight coach. Like, I've made a life and a career off of team sports, lifting weights.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is this. Let's go all the way back when they started playing football. What did they tell you about lifting weights? It'll slow you down. It'll make you muscle bound. It's no good, right?
Yep. Yeah.
But guess what they did at your high school on Friday nights? They played football. Then all of a sudden, wait a second. It'll help them from getting hurt. Lean body mass makes you faster and stronger, but it doesn't affect your skill set. It actually makes you move better. Your mobility's better. So then they started lifting weights. And guess what they did Friday at your high school? They played football. And now tomorrow, I'm going to pass a bill that says no one's allowed to lift weights no more if you're a team sport athlete. And guess what's going to happen this September on Friday night at your high school? They're going to field a football team. And people are going to come and see it. So that's where I got to remind coaches, hey, that leaderboard, when you got, we got 14 guys who clean 400. Well, I'm going to tell you this. If those 14 guys clean 400 and none of them have a 30-inch or at high school, I'd say a 27-inch vertical or better, then that clean, I can guarantee you, isn't technically correct.
Exactly.
So that's the thing. Even in college, hey, that kid, guy, oh man, we had 4 guys clean 400. I want to know their verticals. 22, 24, 21, 28. Well, maybe the 28 guy, if he's a lineman, but the truth is, you clean 400, you better be jumping over 30.
Yeah, 8, and that's it.
So those are things that I would tell you is don't, I don't like to say don't. I would prefer you not to rush him because you have to build the confidence in the kid. And to me, and this is where CrossFit helps.
Yeah.
When you see guys banging 20, 30 pull-ups, that's way more impressive than a guy laying on his back doing a bench press.
Yeah, and that's the one thing we've been doing too is like I'm working them in slowly, and I'm like, look, we're just gonna just play with some weights. We're just gonna like get these things. It's like we do band work, and I'm a big proponent of band work. Just like you say, I don't call them warm ups. I'm like, hey, we're just getting ourselves set up to do these lifts, and
we like to call it greasing the groove.
That's it. That's it, and that's what we've been doing. So I definitely appreciate everything that you've give me here because it's definitely opened my eyes up, and definitely gonna be working on the Nordics with them because, like I said, it's pistol squats, and we've been working on push-ups, we've been working on pull-ups, and like I said, just trying to get the basics and that base muscle.
Yeah, then the biggest thing too is like you can't do enough planks, like just strengthening the core.
Yeah.
Rotation type work with a med ball when he's there, and those are. And plus, you can make it fun. Like you could turn. That's one thing. You could turn those types of workouts into a nice little, what I call medley or circuit.
Yeah.
And you can just run your guys through and they're having a little fun with it. And there's no real pressure. That's where people, I think, miss the boat. It's like, oh, well, I got this 6'4", 240-pound eighth grader. Well, we got to get him in a squat rack. Well, how do you even know the guy knows how to squat? And
exactly,
how do you know he even wants to squat? Like, he's going to be a ball player. How do you know? He's never played. Like,
yeah.
This is where, again, I think, hey, man, I love coaches, man. I had some of the best ones. I've had coaches that were okay, but I became a coach because I had more positive interactions with coaches than I didn't. I wouldn't be here without my high school offensive and defensive line coach and my high school head coach. But my high school head coach was legit, but my high school O-line, D-line coach was so far ahead of the game in the 80s technically that I got to choose where I went to school. Like,
yeah,
a lot of people can't say that. Like, I got to choose where I went to school, and I chose for where I went for a lot of reasons, but I just felt really fortunate that I was able to do that, where I'm not like my son, my oldest, who's a really good player, but in the end, he had one scholarship offer. So he really didn't have a choice. Because you want to be a scholarship player.
Yeah.
My other son was a thrower. He walked on and earned a scholarship, but a little different. But like, that's the thing where I look at things a lot different now, but I try to educate people with the positivities of what happens is, hey man, for everything that you wish you could have done, like, oh, I wish this would have happened.
Yeah.
You know how many people wish they could do what you have done? And that's where I think a lot of people miss the boat on too when they are telling their stories. Hey man, you make your story. Like you want it to be a set. Like I could tell you, hey, House, how come you didn't go to the NFL? Hey man, I blew my knee out when I was a freshman. I blew 2 ligaments, ACL, MCL. That's the last thing you wanted to do in the 80s.
Yep.
And then you know what? By the time it was time for me to go to the NFL, they had already declared me a medical reject.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I'm like, I could be telling that sad story, but my story is, hey man, there was a lot of people thought I'd never play again, and I started 22 games at Division I football.
That's
so
it.
In the end, a lot of people wish they could say they started 22 games in D1 football.
Hey, me tell you right now, and we're gonna stop right there because man, we could talk freaking forever. I could listen to you forever too. So let them know where to find you and where to look for you. And I'm going to put all that in the show notes too.
Yeah, I'm really simple. You can really find me on Instagram. I don't mess with Twitter or X because I think a lot of people in my profession or career use that for just banter and like.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, I don't even know what else to say. My website's bighousepower.com. You don't have to say www. I got so used to that one in the early 2000s.
Everyone had to learn to use it. Everybody.
Yeah, back then it was, hey, www.bighousepower.com. Now you don't have to. But bighousepower.com is the website. It's got some really good stuff. Material. It's got a lot of good free material. It's got a lot of Block Zero free material on it. It used to be a paid site, and then I was like, man, I'm not keeping it up to date to have people pay for no updates. So I just made everything free, and it's got some product on there. I'm working, like I said, I'm working on. The biggest thing is, like I told you earlier, just finding the right platform to put out the material I have. And then, I'm always a coach, and I started out a poor coach. I started out where I didn't have a budget to pay for a lot of professional development things, so I'm always coach conscious, and sometimes that's a good thing when it comes to taking care of my people in my field and paying it forward. But then sometimes it could be a bad thing because you're cutting yourself short on what your value is.
Yeah.
So that's the business part, right? So it's somewhere in between, but I'll always fault on knowing what it was like to have to decide, am I going to go to this clinic to better myself so I can better my family, but I need that money because I need formula and baby diapers, right?
That's it.
So I get it, and I appreciate those people. That's why anytime I'm speaking on a weekend or an event, I appreciate the fact that those people have invested in their profession, because I understand the value of time and finances. So generally, and I'll be on, and I'll tell you this. I would say I'm way over 75% of answering DMs on Instagram. I remember early on, I was like, if you DM me on Instagram or Twitter, that's not professional. You got to find my email. But now that's how we communicate.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's down in the DM for whatever you want.
That's it.
But, and again, I think that it's just a way we have to adapt. And we've all, if you're not going to adapt to what the society tells you to do, you're not going to win. So I like I said, I'm not 100%, so I'm not going to say, but I am better than 75%. If you ask a legitimate question, and then the same thing is, I know I've talked to coaches about, hey, I'll help you out. Let's get on a Zoom. But remember, hey man, everybody's busy, but if it's that important to you, it's up to you to keep contacting me to get it to
exactly.
work. Like, don't expect me to be like, well, I told this.
I don't carry conversations.
Yeah, like, hey man, and again, this is where you got to be a little bit of an a-hole. Hey, I'm doing you a favor, because my time's super valuable.
Hey, for real. And I appreciate the time you coming on here to talk with me and getting all this.
And I appreciate your help on the business side. And I will see you in about 2 weeks, right? I'm getting in Monday.
Okay.
And
I'll be here. I'll be back Monday too, because I'm flying in on the 12th back from Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'll be in. So are you flying back with Nick?
No, Nick's driving up. I'm flying back.
How far a drive is that from Vegas to Sacramento?
It's about a 12-hour drive.
Nick likes driving though. Didn't he drive that little spit?
Yeah, and that's what he's going to drive up here again. It's what he's going to drive up again. You know what I'm saying? He's done it before. He'll do it again.
All right, my man. All right. I appreciate you thinking of me.
Oh, yeah. No problem at all. Let's get on out here. This is the Angry Dad with Coach Joe Kenn. And guess the fuck what? Thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to watch this shit, YouTube, you want us to do it, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, SoundCloud, Deezer, iHeartRadio. This motherfucker's everywhere. You can easily fucking find it. Rate, review, like, subscribe, all that bullshit. I'm also part of the Inner Circle Podcast Network, group of powerful podcasters out there sharing their shit. It's innercirclepn.com. Every one of our websites, every one of our shows, make sure you check it the fuck out, because we have shows as The Plunge, Failing Hollywood, Simmons and More Podcast, The Untrained Eye, The Hood Diner, and Shit Happens When You Party Naked. So make sure you check it the fuck out, and I'll see y'all motherfuckers on the next one. Fuck.